Peace to everyone. Welcome to Winning Wednesdays. My name is Errol. As a reminder, we go live Wednesdays, noon Eastern. We discuss current events in the stock market. Today, there's a lot going on, so we'll get to it shortly. We welcome everyone just now joining Winning Wednesdays. Welcome to everyone across X. Welcome to everyone across YouTube and StreamYard. We are live on three platforms today: X, YouTube, and StreamYard. So we welcome everyone. I've got several things I wanted to discuss today. We'll give it just a minute before we begin. There's a lot going on in the market. We're going to get to all of it. Okay. While we wait for everyone to join, let's take a look at live market. Let me share my screen here. All right, let's take a look at Google. All right, so here are some of the headlines as of 1 hour ago. There's several articles I wanted to discuss today. We'll give it 3 more minutes before we really jump in. Okay. Welcome to everyone just now joining. All right, let me take a look at my trading view. Market looks pretty green today. All the mega caps are up. All the major indexes are up. Let's see here. The only red I see is Netflix, Palantir, TSM, Meta. Okay, so most of the tickers I follow, most of the major indexes I follow are all green. So that's where we sit as of 12:02 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. We welcome everyone just now joining. A lot going on, a lot to discuss. We're going to give it 2 more minutes before we begin. Let me share what I was just looking at. Okay. Let me make sure I'm sharing the correct screen. Okay. All right. That's where we sit. Okay. Before I continue, just make sure you guys can hear me and see me. Just confirm in the chat that you can hear me and see me. Someone just dropped a confirmation in the chat that you can hear me and see me. Ina says lost audio. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully you guys can hear me. All right, let me share that screen one more time. Let's take a look at the trading view before we continue. I think I didn't share it correctly a minute ago. So let me go back. All right, let me make sure I'm sharing correctly. Okay, this is what I was saying a minute ago. Sorry if I messed up the tech. Major indexes are green. Mega caps are green. Meta's slightly down to 748. And Netflix 1200, Nvidia 182, Palantir 157. Okay, so that's what I was talking about a minute ago. Tesla also 352. All right, so that's a quick look at the market. We're going to come back to this a little bit later. We're going to come back to this later. All right. What I wanted to do was jump right into the first thing I have in my notes here. Let's get right to the elephant in the room. Nvidia earnings later today. I want to share this diagram from Earnings Whispers. Let's see here. Let's take a look at this diagram. Okay, you already know. Today after close, Nvidia will report its earnings. CrowdStrike will also report its earnings today after hours. Earlier this week, some of the banks, BMO, Scotiabank, reported their earnings. What else? RBC this morning. Snowflake as well later today. HP later today. Let's see what else. What else we have? Tomorrow, another bank, TD Bank, CIBC Bank. That's tomorrow before open. Tomorrow after close, they'll Affirm. Some of you own shares of Affirm. What else we have? Ulta Beauty tomorrow after close. And Friday morning, I see Alibaba on that list. Okay, so this is a snapshot of all the earnings this week. All eyes will be on Nvidia later today. I wanted to share a YouTube short. Discussing Nvidia's earnings today. I wanted to discuss this YouTube short that I have here. Let me see if I can share this screen. If I stop that one, let me share Yahoo Finance's YouTube channel. Let's talk about this. We're going to actually watch a short on their YouTube channel. All right, so make sure, just let me know that you guys can see this. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to play this short right here. Hopefully you can see.
Will Nvidia earnings save the market rally? The stock holds a massive weight in the S&P 500 index at nearly 8%.
They are really the only game in town for real money making in the AI infrastructure business. In general, the fundamentals for Nvidia for several quarters to come are quite strong. They're going to sell everything they can make.
There is this race to artificial general intelligence. Now it's called artificial super general intelligence. There's so much spending within the hyperscalers. No matter how much they spend, the beneficiary of that, or one of the beneficiaries, is Nvidia.
The question, I think, is whether or not the market has overpriced optimism, and if there's even the slightest blip, if that will take an impact on the stock. And I think that is a legitimate risk.
Will Nvidia earnings save the market rally? The stock holds a massive weight in the S&P 500 index at nearly 8%.
They are really the only game in town for real money making in the AI infrastructure business. In general, the fundamentals for Nvidia for several quarters to come are quite strong. They're going to sell everything they can make.
There is this race to artificial general intelligence. Now it's called artificial super general intelligence. There's so much spending within the hyperscalers. No matter how much they spend, the beneficiary of that, or one of the beneficiaries, is Nvidia.
The question, I think, is whether or not the market has overpriced optimism, and if there's even the slightest blip, if that will take an impact on the stock. And I think that is a legitimate risk.
Will Nvidia earnings save the market?
Okay, hopefully you guys hopefully you heard that. I was trying to share the audio best as I could. Okay, so as we mentioned, Nvidia earnings later today. I've got a Yahoo Finance article I wanted to discuss on Nvidia, so let's get right to that. This one right here. Okay, so this is from yesterday. Let me confirm that. Oops, sorry. Remove that one, share this one. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is from Monday. This is an article from Investopedia from this past Monday. Okay. NVIDIA stock may see biggest post-earnings move in a year this week. All right, let's see what this article says. AI. NVIDIA is slated to report quarterly results after market close on Wednesdays, and traders are prepared for a big stock move. NVIDIA stock is expected to move approximately 6.2% in either direction by the end of the week, according to options pricing data. That big of a move from Tuesday's close would put shares at either 192.88, an all-time high. That translates to holy moly. let me that's a big number. Let me take this in. That big of a move from Tuesday's close will put shares at either 192.88, an all-time high. That translates to a 4.7 trillion market cap, or 170.66, its lowest since mid-July. NVIDIA has reported earnings 10 times since the release of ChatGPT in late 2022, sparked the AI craze that's made it the world's most valuable company. The stock posted double-digit gains in the days after 4 of those reports, most recently in May 2024. But NVIDIA's earnings have struggled recently to clear the exceptionally high bar set by Wall Street. In the past 4 quarters, NVIDIA's stock has moved an average of 3.2% between reporting earnings and the end of the week. On only one of those occasions, the most recent report in May, did NVIDIA finish the week above where it was before reporting earnings. Okay, let's see. Investors will be scrutinizing NVIDIA's report Wednesdays for confirmation that AI demand remains strong. Hyperscalers, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon will all recently stood by plans to spend hundreds of billions of dollars this year on data center infrastructure and other capital goods, citing robust demand for AI and cloud computing. AI, with an estimated 80% to 90% share of the AI chip market, should be the biggest beneficiary of that spending. Wall Street will also be hoping for updates on sales to China. NVIDIA warned in May that the Trump administration's decision to tighten Biden-era export controls could cost it up to $8 billion in lost revenue in the second quarter. Earlier this month, NVIDIA and competitor AMD struck a deal with the Trump administration that allows them to resume sales to China in exchange for a 15% cut. That deal came too late to have an impact on Wednesday's results, but it should be factored into NVIDIA's guidance. Okay, so the deal AMD and NVIDIA came to with the Trump administration just recently will be likely priced into next quarter's earnings. Analysts are overwhelmingly bullish on NVIDIA. Of the 14 analysts tracked by Visible Alpha with current ratings on NVIDIA stock, 13 rated a buy and 1 gives it a neutral hold rating. The average price target of 203.38 is about 12% above NVIDIA's closing price on Tuesday. Okay, so NVIDIA's earnings is probably the biggest market catalyst this week. It's probably the biggest news story this week. Later today, NVIDIA will report its Q2 earnings. All right, so that's an article from Yahoo Finance on NVIDIA. Okay, so that you can check out this article from Monday afternoon. Okay, all right, let's see. Andrea says, NVIDIA is so big it can only miss an earnings or two, but no impact to us long-term investors. I invested a pre-split 15-1. They will dominate for the next 5 to 6. Yep, I suspect that's the case. I suspect that's the case too. All right, so NVIDIA will report earnings later today. All right, let's go back to, I want to share another headline I saw. This one is from, let's see, this one is from, I think this one's from, it says 3 hours ago. Okay, so this is a headline from CNN Business. I want to share this headline. This is a article on Apple. This is an article on Apple. Okay, so for all you Apple shareholders, you might want to mark this date. September 9th. Okay, September 9th. September 9th will be a key day for Apple. Apple's big iPhone launch is coming on September 9th. What to expect? All right, let's see here. Apple is holding an event on September 9th. The company sent in an invitation to the press Tuesday, where it will likely announce the iPhone 17 and new Apple Watches, among other potential new devices. Apple rarely shares details about future products before announcing them, but the company has been introducing new iPhones in September since 2012. The invitation includes the tagline "Awe dropping." Okay, well, if Apple says it's awe dropping, we expect this to be awe dropping. Apple hasn't been too awe dropping in recent years. Apple's a September event, which will take place at the company's Apple Park campus in Cupertino, California, is largely considered the tech giant's most important moment of the year. This is anticipation for a new iPhone, Apple's biggest revenue driver, but only time will tell if consumers decide it's worth shelling out for the latest model at a time when purse strings are tight. Meanwhile, Wall Street will look to the announcements as a barometer for whether Apple is still an innovator, especially in the age of AI. The stakes are especially high this year after Apple delayed a major upgrade to its Siri digital helper, one that would have helped bring it up to speed with OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. Investors cheered Apple's July earnings results on strong iPhone sales despite its AI setbacks. But Apple framed last year's iPhone 16 as being built for Apple intelligence, an approach that could continue in 2025 as rivals like Google ramp up their own AI efforts. This year, Apple is betting that it can woo consumers with a super slim iPhone, according to Bloomberg. The company is expected to release a new model that's essentially the MacBook Air of iPhone, much sleeker, but potentially at the expense of battery life and the camera. Okay, that's a key point right there. Much sleeker, but potentially at the expense of battery life and the camera. Okay, so let's pause right there. For all the people that have Apple iPhones, will you get the iPhone 17? If this article is accurate, the iPhone 17 will be sleeker, but you'll have less battery life and the camera. Less battery life and not a strong camera. Will you be shelling out for the new iPhone 17 come September? Giving the iPhone a new look could potentially reinvigorate interest in smartphones at a time when most people only upgrade out of necessity. While virtually every other smartphone maker has released foldable phones that bend in half, the iPhone's look hasn't changed much in years. Apple's attempts to entice shoppers with iPhones in different sizes have largely fallen flat. Okay, let's pause right there. If you're Apple, how do you attract more? How do you increase sales? How do you get people to buy the iPhones? Okay, they tried changing. Looks like they're trying to change the design of the phone into a foldable phone. If you're Tim Cook, if you're one of the other Apple executives, how do you increase sales? What's your ideas to increase sales? Okay, you might be a business owner. Your sales may be flat. Your sales may have decreased. How are you going to increase sales? What's the plan of action? Okay, how are you going to increase sales? Tim Cook has been asking himself that exact question. Let's see here. Apple scrapped the iPhone Mini from its lineup after just 2 generations, and the larger iPhone 16 Plus only accounted for 5 to 10% of Apple's shipments as of July 24. He also predicts Apple will retire the Plus model from its iPhone lineup in 2025. Okay. Besides the new sleeker variant, Apple is expected to announce a standard version of the iPhone 17 alongside new Pro models. Apple typically upgrades its standard models with new processors and incremental improvements to the camera and battery life. Will you shell out $1,000+ for incremental improvements to the camera and battery life? Are incremental improvements to the Camry and battery life worth the out-of-pocket expense for you? Compared to the standard, the Pro models offer more advanced cameras, bigger screens, slightly more powerful processors, and a titanium-built design. The splashy event comes as Apple continues to navigate the impact of President Donald Trump's tariffs. CEO Tim Cook told analysts in July that he expects Apple to incur a $1.1 billion in tariff-related costs during the September quarter. All right. Let's see. Okay, so we're pretty much almost done this article. Apple shifted production of most of its U.S.-bound iPhones to India to reduce reliance on China, the beating heart of its smartphone production operations. And although tariffs on most Indian goods are set to double to 50% on Wednesday, smartphones are one of the exceptions. Okay, imagine a 50% tariff before Tim Cook paid that visit to the White House. Now his smartphones are on the exempt list. Okay. No surprise. No surprise. I doubt that was a coincidence. Okay. I doubt that it was a coincidence. Trump has also hinted that Apple wouldn't be subject to upcoming 100% tariffs on semiconductors. The president has said companies that have committed to building in the U.S. would not face a charge. Apple said earlier this month it would invest $600 billion in expanding its U.S. operations, which includes creating a domestic supply chain for its chips. Okay. So all you Apple shareholders, circle September 9th on your calendar. 9/9 on your calendar. Circle that date if you're an Apple shareholder. Okay. All right. Okay, so we talked about NVIDIA's earnings. We talked about Apple. I've got a couple articles, a couple other articles I wanted to discuss. But before we get into the other articles, I want to just quickly recap this past weekend in Atlanta. It was great meeting many of you in the city of Atlanta. It was great networking with many of you. Those of you I've never met face to face, I met you this past weekend. Great networking, great information, great people, great conference. We thank Doc, we thank his team for putting on the conference. I want to share a couple pictures I have from this past weekend in Atlanta. Let me share correctly here. Let's see here. Okay, so this is a couple pictures I took with. You may recognize some of these people in these pictures. Okay, this is Jay on the left, Riza in the middle, and myself on the right. Some solid brothers. This was on Friday, right after Riza spoke. Friday morning, right after Riza spoke. Jay, Riza, and myself. Follow these guys on social. These guys are solid guys. I know them. I've met them several times myself. So this was a picture from this past Friday. Okay, this was a picture from this past Friday. Okay, salute Jay, salute Riza. Shout out to these guys. These guys are solid guys. All right, so that was one picture. Let me share another picture. For those of you that were not in Atlanta, I spoke myself and this brother right here. This brother's a cold brother. Okay, this guy's cold with it. Okay, this is myself and Martin Eggleston. Lawrence Eggleston. Shout out Lawrence. This guy is a cold brother. Okay, this guy's a young brother in his mid-20s. This guy is a market assassin. Okay, this guy's a market assassin. This is myself and Lawrence after our panel on Saturday. Okay, Lawrence people's birthed him to dominate the market. My people's birthed me to dominate the market. Okay, this is right after we spoke on options and swing trading this past Saturday. Okay, follow Lawrence. He's on social. I follow Lawrence a while. Smart guy, very sharp guy. Shout out Lawrence. Solid guy. So this was a picture from Saturday. Okay, so there's a couple pictures from this past weekend. I've got some other pictures, but I'm going to save those. I'm going to save that content for later on. Okay, so these are a couple of pictures I took with these brothers this past weekend in Atlanta. So it was great meeting everyone. It was great connecting with everyone. Great information. Great information. One other thing I wanted to mention about this past week in Atlanta, several people asked me the same question. Okay. Those 2 or 3 days I was there, I got the same question maybe 4 or 5 times. Okay. So it really just made me think about hosting a free training on YouTube regarding this question and the answers to this question. Okay. 4 or 5 people asked me how I built my capital base over the years. Okay. What I'm going to do is host a free training in the near future. I'm going to review all the ways I built my capital base over the years. Okay. It was because these people asked me this exact question that I started to think about hosting a training and sharing with the community how I personally built my capital base. Okay. So I'm going to host actually, I've been working on 2 trainings. That was one of them, how I built my capital base. That's one of them. And then I'm going to also, I'm likely going to recap I'm going to have a YouTube live for all option beginners. Okay. That panel that me and Lawrence shared on Saturday, most of the people were beginners. So since Saturday, I was thinking about having a YouTube live, a free YouTube live regarding options for beginners. Okay. The basics of option selling. Okay. So I'm working on 2 trainings, how I built my capital base and option selling 101. Okay. So I'm going to drop more detail on those trainings in the near future. Okay. So that was Atlanta. That was Atlanta in a nutshell this past weekend. It was great to meet everyone. It was great to connect with everyone. Okay. Let me mention this. If you want to contact me, many of you have already reached out to me. Check out my website, errolcmango.com. You can email me. There's a contact tab there. You can contact me through my website. If you want to get on my email list, when I drop free content, when I drop free trainings, make sure you're on my email list. So go to my website, fill out that contact form. I will have your email once you do that, your email address. I'm going to send out email blasts before I have these free trainings. Okay. So if you're interested in options, if you're interested in some of the other trainings I have, get on my contacts list. Fill out that contact tab at my website. Okay. I'm going to drop the details of these trainings to everyone on my contacts list in the near future. Okay. All right. Let's wrap that up. Okay. So that was Atlanta this past weekend. Before we continue, let's take a look at this article right here. Let me pull it up right here. Actually, what I'm going to do before I do that is take a live look at Yahoo Finance. Let's take a look at some of the current headlines on Yahoo Finance. Okay, let's see what's going on with Yahoo Finance. Okay, Kohl's stock soars after raising annual profit target. What else do we have? This is how NVIDIA makes money. That looks like a dope article on the bottom there. Stocks nudge higher in countdown to NVIDIA. Okay, all eyes on NVIDIA today. What else do we have? Top stock movers: Kohl's, Cracker Barrel, Canada Goose. Okay, so that's a live look at Yahoo Finance. I want to share this screen here. I want to go to Google and share this screen right here. Share screen. Okay, let's look at Google's headlines. Okay, this is a live look at Google's stock market headlines. Stock market today: Dow, S&P, Nasdaq wobble. Stock market today: Dow rises as Palantir falls with NVIDIA earnings. Okay, let's go to full coverage. Let's see what's up with the full coverage. Okay, first headline. Okay, we talked about NVIDIA today. Later today, they report earnings. Okay, it's pretty much all NVIDIA here. Pretty much all NVIDIA. All right, so that's a live look at Google's headlines. That's a live look at Google's headlines. Let me go to CNN Business, or even, yeah, let's check CNN Business first. I suspect many similar headlines, NVIDIA dominant. Okay, this is NVIDIA. This is CNN Business. Trump makes good on threat of impose 50% tariffs on India imports. Trump says he has fired Fed Governor Lisa Cook. AT&T to spend $23 billion on wireless spectrum licenses. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, yeah, this is the article we just read a few minutes ago on Apple. Let's see here. Okay, so that's a live look at CNN Business. Some of the headlines on CNN Business. Okay, let's take a look at MSNBC. Let me stop sharing CNN Business. Let me share MSNBC. Share screen, MSNBC News. Let's check some of their headlines. I want to go to the market-related headlines. Let's see how I did this again. Congress, world, culture, science and tech, civil, business. Let's check business. Trump's trade war is now having unexpected side effects for online shoppers. Maybe we check that headline. Okay, let's check this headline on online shopping right here. I actually stopped shopping in person. I try to stop shopping in person. During the pandemic, I just switched to everything being dropped off. I realized I spent way too much time driving to the store, walking up and down the aisles, waiting in line, and then driving back. So I try not to shop in person. I realized I was spending too much time shopping in person. So let's check this. Let's check this online shopping headline, because for me, this speaks directly to me. Let's check this headline. President Donald Trump often says he's taking America back to the good old days, but in reality, he seems to be taking us back to the bad old days of 1930. That was the year President Hoover signed this act, raising import taxes on more than 20,000 goods with the goal of protecting American business from foreign competition. Let's see here. Among economists, this guy has the same reputation as prohibition. Let's see here. Let's skip down to the. Let me skip down to. I want to skip down to the bread and butter stuff. Especially for something that's supposed to avoid needless paperwork on cheap goods, is also way higher than other countries. Canada, for example, sets the rate at the equivalent of 116. Over the years, an exemption that was designed to avoid bureaucratic hassle for minor goods had somehow grown to cover a $1 billion industry. Let's see here. Trump's One Big Beautiful Act stated that the de minimis exemption would be repealed in 2027, but the president then unexpectedly announced it would end 2 years earlier, signing a dashed-off executive order at the end of July that set an arbitrary deadline of August 29. Okay, let's see here. For a country with one of Trump's high tariff rates, that means sending a product to the United States is suddenly dramatically more expensive. As an example of the most extreme cases, an $800 product shipped from Canada will now come with a 25% tariff, adding $200 to the cost. Okay. To justify the decision, Trump said he wanted to stop the flow of fentanyl into the country, but that's a pretty transparent justification. Most fentanyl is smuggled into the country across the southern border by U.S. citizens, not mailed in boxes of cheap sneakers from China. Okay, so this is an article on article from MSNBC. Okay, you can check it out on your own time. Okay, Trump's trade war has come to your Etsy shopping cart. I'm sure the same has come to your Amazon cart. The same has come to your Walmart cart. Same has come to your Target cart. Same has come to your whatever grocery cart you use, your Whole Foods cart, or whatever retailer you shop from. Okay. Get myself to the stage. Let's check any comments. I know I'm missing all the comments and questions. NVIDIA number one. Makes hard on. What is this? Jen, you and Lawrence have both been at 12 Eastern for the past 7 weeks. Makes it hard on us. Zealous supporters have both been at 12 Eastern. Oh, does Lawrence go live at 12 noon? I do follow Lawrence. He's a very sharp guy. Sometimes I catch his lives. Sometimes I don't catch his lives. But shout out Lawrence, a very sharp guy. Key guy I want to keep in my network. Me and him text, every week or so, every couple of days, every week. Very sharp guy. The more sharp people I keep in my network, the more I have to be sharp. Okay, the more I have to be sharp. Iron sharpens iron. I want to keep people who make history in my network. Okay, I want to be a leader in my network. Okay, I'm afraid to be a laggard in my network. All right, so keeping in touch with people who make history is one way I stay sharp. Okay, I want to stay on top of my game. I want to make sure everyone in my network stays on top of their game. So shout out Lawrence. Let me get back to a couple of the articles. I wanted to share this article I saw on Eli Lilly. Let's check out Eli Lilly right quick. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. Let me stop sharing that one. Let me share this Eli Lilly weight loss pill article. Let me make sure I'm doing this correctly. I think I'm screwing this up. Bear with me. Let me make sure I'm sharing this correctly. Let me make sure I'm doing this correctly here. Eli Lilly. Okay, hopefully this works right here. Let's see here. Okay, I'm having trouble. Let me make sure. Okay, there we go. I'm a bit tech challenged. I'm a bit technically challenged, just a bit. All right. Okay, so this is an article or a video on Eli Lilly's weight loss pill. This is from yesterday. This video is from yesterday. Let's see what it says here. See if I can get this video to play.
Now time for what to watch. Tuesday, August 26th. We're going to start off on the economy. Some fresh data on the consumer coming out on Tuesday with consumer confidence. Economists anticipating that number to drop to 96.4 in August, suggesting that households are feeling a bit less optimistic about the economy as consumers continue to navigate a challenging inflationary landscape. Taking a look over at earnings, got some big names in the software space reporting on Tuesday that would include MongoDB, Okta, and Box. Okta announcing results for the second quarter after the markets close. Analysts expecting Okta's revenue growth to slow in Q2 as customer retention fails to keep up with other cloud security companies. And moving over to housing, we'll be getting another read on the housing market with a Case-Shiller home price index on Tuesday.
You guys hear that?
Economists forecasting that home prices are still falling, but at a slower pace, signaling that housing prices are still under pressure, but showing signs of stabilizing.
All right, let me actually refresh that because that was not Lilly related. Let me refresh that. Hopefully we can get the Eli Lilly video to play.
The hardest lesson that I've learned so far in crypto was to stick to my strategy. I learned the hard way and I'll never do it again. I'm Vic Laranja and this is my Kraken Pro trading story.
Now time for what to watch. Tuesday, August 26th. We're going to start off on the economy. Some fresh data on the consumer coming out on Tuesday with consumer confidence. Economists anticipating that number to drop to 96.4 in August, suggesting that
Lilly video wants to play. But this is an article, video I saw yesterday. Does it give us the article? No, it doesn't look like it gives us the article here. All right, let's. Okay, yeah, it talks about NVIDIA here. Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right, I was trying to get that video to play, but I was having some issues with that video. All right, let's see here. I want to go back to. I want to go back to take a live look at the market. Let's take another look at the market. A couple of charts I wanted to talk about. A couple of charts I want to talk about. A couple of tickers I want to talk about. Let me pull up Google right quick. All right, Google. All right, I want to talk about one of them was Ethereum. One of them was let me look at my trading view right quick, just to refresh my memory. Tesla, that was the other one, Tesla. Let's take a look at Tesla's chart. Okay, let's look at the 1 month here. Okay, so 1 month it's about $25. It's almost 8%. I remember not too long ago, when was this? This was back at the end of July, early August. Okay, about a month ago. Okay, Tesla was at 302. Now it's at 351. So Tesla looks to be on the move. Keep an eye on Tesla. 6 month up almost 25%. Year to date down 7%. Okay, so down for 7% year to date, but in recent months it's been doing well. Okay, so that's Tesla. There's another ticker a couple other tickers I want to take a look at. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Okay, currently at 181. 5 day up about $7 or 4%. 1 month about 3%. 6 month, wow, 6 months is up 51%. Wow. Year to date up 31%. Okay, so NVIDIA is killing it. I expect a move. I expect a large move today after earnings. Okay, so that's NVIDIA. Let's check. Let me see here. There's one other one I wanted to look at. There's just a couple other ones I want to look at actually. Let's see here. Checking my trading view. Let's check BTC. Let's check BTC. Okay, currently at okay, this is okay, I'm actually in Canada right now. So this is in 154 Canadian. Let me see if I can switch this to USD. Can I switch this to USD? Here we go. Not CAD, we want USD. Where's USD? US dollar. Okay, BTC currently at 111,800. Okay, 111,800. Okay, BTC currently at 111 USD. Okay, so let's see the 5 day. 5 day down about 4%. 1 month down about 5%. 6 month up 31%. Year to date up about 20%. 1 year up about 78%. 5-year, probably something crazy, 874%. Max, something even crazier, 24,000%. All right, so that's BTC. Quick chart on BTC. All right. Okay, so let's take a quick look at one or two more. Actually, here's another one. This is another one I wanted to keep an eye on. This one's been on the move recently too. Google chart. Let's check Google's chart. Not too long. Oh, not chat, but chart. Okay, Google chart. Let's check Google chart. I should put in stock, right? Google stock chart. Google stock chart. Okay, currently at 207, just under 208. 5-day up 3%. 1 month. There we go. Okay, so let's say 5-day up 3%. 1 month up 7%. 6 month 22%. Year to date 9%. Okay, let's check the 6 month. Okay, let's go back to. Okay, so when the pullback occurred early April, it was at 146. Okay, April was what, about 4 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. It was at 146, currently at 207. Okay, so look at the chart from here to present day, 207. Okay, so that's Google's chart. Okay, there's the year to date. Year to date started at about 190, pulled back to about 140, mid 140s. Now it's back up to 207. Okay, so that's Google. Okay, that's what's going on with Google. Okay, so those are a few charts I wanted to share. Any comments or questions? I welcome any comments or questions. I welcome your thoughts in the chat. Let's see. Let's check out the chat. Okay, so just some. Okay, so there's no comments or questions in the chat. Let's take a look at. Let's take a look at news. Actually, let's go back to. All right, so here's a summary of all the indexes on the top there. Dow Jones, S&P, NASDAQ, Russell, everything is up. Everything is up. You may not know what the TSX is. Anyone know what the TSX is? What's this one right here in the upper right? What's the TSX? Anyone know what the TSX is? Dow Jones Industrial, S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell 2000. What's the TSX? What's the TSX? I believe it's the Toronto Stock Exchange, TSX. All right, let's see what news articles they have on Google Finance. Okay, so let's see here. Boring is better than Amazon, Apple, Alphabet. These three stocks prove it. All right, maybe we take a look at that article. Okay, some of the tickers on the bottom here: Intel, Google, Micron, Visa, Johnson & Johnson, Nike, Starbucks, JP Morgan. All their current prices. Verizon. And then some of the indexes on the bottom. Okay. I want to scroll up to that one article. That kind of caught my. Let's check out this article right here from Barron's. Let me share that screen right there. Let me share that screen. Share. Stop that one. Share. Let's check that Barron's article. All right, let's see here. Okay, actually, I got to subscribe to read this article. All right, I got to subscribe to read that article. Okay, let me start. Let me go back. I want to go back to Google Finance and maybe check some of these other headlines. Motley Fool says the smartest growth stock to buy with 1,000 right now. If you had $1,000 extra right now, what ticker would you buy? If you had $1,000 extra right now, what ticker would you buy? Let's see here. Let me see if I can, if this article will allow me to read it before I pull it up. Okay. Actually, we just talked about one of these. We just talked about this ticker. Let me share my screen here. Share screen. Okay, so this article is from Motley Fool. Let's see here. Let me scroll back up. Okay, the smartest growth stock to buy right now with 1,000 right now. Okay, it mentions Alphabet. Okay. This stock's rebound might only be getting started. Google's parent company, Alphabet, is finally bouncing back. The tech leader started the year on a sour note with its shares moving in the wrong direction for the better part of the first 5 months of 25. Alphabet has performed significantly better since May, and the stock is now up 5% year to date. Although that still trails the S&P by S&P's 8% performance, and there's plenty of upside left for the company. Here's why. Let's see why. Excellent financial results. Alphabet shares have been punished partly because the company seems exposed to legal and regulatory risks, with antitrust case hanging over its head. While that's ongoing, Alphabet continues to post excellent financial results. Several factors drove Alphabet's strong performance. The company's advertising business remains strong despite competition from AI chatbots. Some thought ChatGPT would mean the death of Alphabet's core business, but the company has adapted. Okay, here's a key takeaway right here. Key takeaway for all you business owners, for all us business owners, okay? Google is one of the biggest companies in the world. They adapt. We can take lessons from the biggest companies in the world. If Google adapts to environmental changes, we need to adapt to environmental changes. Let's see here. The numbers show the success of this initiative. Alphabet estimates that AI overviews have increased queries by 10%. AI overviews also have more than 2 billion monthly users. That's a lot of users. AI is improving Alphabet's business elsewhere, especially in its cloud division, an industry where it remains a leader. The company's Google Cloud is growing its sales much faster than the rest of the business at a rate of 31% year over year during the second period. Okay, this also cites reasonable valuation. Alphabet isn't just a leader in several industries with bright futures. The company's shares also appear reasonably valued at current levels, especially when compared to similar sized peers. All right, let's see what else. Should you buy stock in Alphabet right now? That's ultimately up to you. But this article does mention a couple big tech competitors to Google and their high valuation. Microsoft, Amazon. Alphabet's valuation paired with its long-term outlook makes it one of the best growth stocks to buy right now with $1,000. Okay, so Motley Fool says Google's a good buy at its current price. Okay, Google's been doing very well since April and May. We just saw its chart a minute ago. So Motley Fool says take your $1,000 extra and buy Alphabet. Okay, so this is a article from Motley Fool. Let's quickly check any other headlines from the Motley Fool. Okay, let's scroll down. Let's check some articles here. In the upper right here, best stocks to buy in 2025. How to invest in OpenAI and ChatGPT. Top marijuana stocks for anyone that likes to invest in marijuana. Best ETFs to buy. Okay, so see, these are some of the headlines on Motley Fool right now. Check out this headline right here: 3 brilliant growth stocks to buy now and hold for the long term. Let's check that. Let's check that article. Okay, so as much as tech companies try to wean themselves from it, they still need TSMC. Here's one of them, TSMC. Its shares are expensive, but Microsoft. Here's the second one, and the third one. Let's find out what the third one is. TSM, okay? TSM is currently, let me check my chart here. TSM is currently 238. TSM is currently 238.54. TSM, it mentions by name. Microsoft, it mentions by name. Microsoft is currently 505, right on the dot, 505, Microsoft. And the third company is Broadcom. Okay, Broadcom, AVGO. Let me check. Someone drop the current price of AVGO in the chat. Someone check current price on Broadcom. Drop that in the chat for us. Okay, so this article mentions 3 by name: Broadcom, Microsoft, and TSM. Okay, you can check out this article in detail on the Motley Fool. Okay, someone drop Broadcom's stock price in the chat. All right. Okay, so Motley Fool mentions, so does anyone own TSM, Microsoft, or Broadcom? I don't own direct shares of TSM or Broadcom, but I do own direct shares of Microsoft. Okay, so that's Motley Fool. That is current headlines on Motley Fool. I want to check this. I want to check one more resource before we wrap to see if they have any good headlines. Okay, so I think I read too many articles on Bloomberg. So let me skip Bloomberg. Let me check this one. Let's check the headlines here before I share. Let's see here. Actually, yeah, let me share here. Let me share. This is another good financial resource I use from time to time, and it is Business Insider. Share screen. Business Insider. Let's take a look at Business Insider. All right, let me click on the Markets tab. Let's check out Business Insider. Oops. All right, let's take a look at some of these headlines right quick. Short seller Andrew Left says OpenAI's $500 billion valuation proves Palantir stock is way too expensive. Morgan Stanley sees 3 things that could break the stock market's record-setting rally. Okay, that was from a couple weeks ago. All right, so these articles seem to be 1 or 2 weeks old. Okay, so these articles are from a couple weeks ago. Okay, current price for some of the mega caps here. Actually, the market cap. Here's the market cap of some of the biggest companies in the world. Oh, let me go back. Okay, so if you want to know the biggest companies in the world by total valuation, here we go. NVIDIA, 4.3 trillion. Microsoft, 3. I keep pressing on the wrong button. Okay, I'm going to just keep it right there. Okay, I'm not even going to press it. Microsoft, 3.7 trillion. Apple, 3.3. Amazon, 2.4. JP Morgan at 800 billion. Okay, JP Morgan at 800 billion. Oh, that's the Dow Jones. Excuse me, that's the Dow Jones. Let me click on S&P. Let me click on the S&P. Okay, here's the total. Okay, there's the S&P. Companies, largest companies in the world by total valuation. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta. Meta is 1.8 trillion. Broadcom, okay, we just talked about Broadcom, Molly Fool article, Broadcom, 1.3 trillion. Tesla, 1.1. Berkshire Hathaway, 1 trillion. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The top 9 companies in the world by total valuation. Okay, Jen says AVGO is currently at 300. Okay, thank you. 337. Okay, Andrea says she has AVGO 300, 300. Okay, AVGO 300. All right, so that's Business Insider right there. All right, so that's what's going on with some of these financial resources. Here's what's going on with some of the major headlines across these financial resources that I use. Okay, 1 p.m. Eastern. Any final comments or questions, drop them in the chat. Welcome your thoughts. Welcome your feedback. Every Wednesday we go live at 12 noon Eastern. Again, I'm working on a couple of trainings. I'm working on one options training. I'm working on one general business training, how to build your capital base. So it's actually stock market and options related. Then I'm also working on a separate options training. So take a look, keep an eye out for some of those trainings, the details on those trainings in the near future. Until next Wednesday, we'll meet again, 12 noon Eastern. We talk about current events in the financial markets. If you find this video a value add, drop a like on the chat, drop a like on the video I'm at. Until then, I will check you out next Wednesday. See you next Wednesday. Peace.